Hi everyone, this is BritSimon. If you're a DV lottery winner and you have a child who is turning 21 or is over 21, you need to watch this video. Okay, so you have probably been a DV lottery winner, you're a DV lottery winner, you're thinking of processing your case, and perhaps your child was under 21 at the time you entered the lottery, but is now either 21 or is getting close to 21 and will soon age out. The term is aging out. Most of you will probably know that you can't include a child as a derivative of yours on your case if that child is over the age of 21 or is married. However, there is some hope if your child has turned 21 during the process, and that's really what I wanted to talk about today. What we're really discussing is the CSPA, or the Child Status Protection Act. I'll talk to you about what the CSPA is and how that applies to the DV lottery, and then how you can calculate the dates of the benefit that the CSPA gives you. I'll provide all that information for you. I do have a place where this is described on my blog, but I'm describing it here in a video and I'll demonstrate how to use the tools. So I hope this is interesting and useful to you. Okay, so here's the page on my blog, which is you can access this by the link here. I'll put the link in the description below. Excuse me. Okay. So as this page describes, everybody loves a birthday, but if you're having a child, if you've got a child who's a derivative of yours, it's a bit of a nightmare because you probably suddenly realize, or people are telling you, that your child is not going to be able to get a visa with you. Now, there is a period of time when your child's age will be kind of frozen as they turn 21. Essentially, the Child Status Protection Act provides for all cases, all immigration cases, apart from a few exceptions, are affected by the CSPA. And there's a particular implementation of that for the DV lottery. And so we need to understand how that works. Basically, the way the calculation works is that there is a time that is subtracted from your child's age as of when the visa becomes available. So, for example, you need to first of all understand what the gap will be. The gap, or the time that you've got to subtract from your child's age, is the first day that the lottery is open until the date of the announcement of the results. Okay, so in here I've got a few of the dates I've calculated. So for DV 2020, for example, the lottery opened on October 3rd, 2018, and the results were announced on May 7th, 2019. That gap is 216 days, so that's an important gap. We need to remember that. That is the protection period, if you like. And so then you need to calculate your child's birthday. And either add, or if you want to, you can subtract to see whether your child is considered under 21 for the purposes of immigration with the benefit that is given to them of the CSPA. The benefit, as I say, this year is the 216 days. So we can calculate some examples here, right? I've got a couple of sort of old examples here. I can do the same thing with a 2020 timeline, but it is really the same process every time. So let's just read through this 2016 example. So if we imagine that the child is turning 21 on February 28th, and we'll make this 2020, we can add 216 days to the birthday so that the child ages out actually in October 1 in this case of 2020. I'm rereading these dates obviously. So we would need to use a date calculator to make sure of those dates, but essentially that means that the case could be okay if the case number in this case is low enough to be current in the month of October. Okay, so actually Uh, this is it's probably slightly confusing if I'm looking at it this way. Perhaps what I'll do is I'll write a 2020 example here, and we can talk through the actual dates. Okay, I'm back. I've now written a DV 2020 example with a couple of dates I've just picked fairly randomly. Let's say your child is about to turn 21 on August 15th, 2019, in a few days' time. Um, you can add 216 days to that birthday, and I've just calculated that the child will age out, therefore, on March 18th, 2020. So as long as the case becomes current before or in March of 2020, that child is still eligible to receive a visa, even if that interview, by the way, happens in April or May. That child would still be eligible, and the child will receive a visa and will have the full time of expiry date time on the visa to enter the United States. So they don't have to enter by their cutoff date or anything like that. They're actually getting the full time. So the child could let's say go for interview in March, um, and perhaps have performed their medical in March with you, and they will be able to enter, let's say, up to 6 months later after the medical. So this is an important benefit. It's hugely important if you're in this situation. It's the difference between your child getting to come to America with you or not. If you if you don't somehow make it through this CSPA period, it's very difficult actually to bring an adult child to the United States as a green card holder. It takes a long time, number of years, and so this is really an important benefit for people that are in this situation. So let me give you some tools here to show you how this works, and also importantly at the end I want to discuss whether the embassies will understand this, because essentially no, they won't, and I need to explain to you what to do if you're in this situation. So here's firstly the date calculator. You can plug in your child's birth date here, so I put in the 15th, but let me change that now to uh, the 20th of August 2019. I'll add the 216 days, perform that calculation, and I get my date here. Right, very useful tool. Um, you can do it the other way around as well. You can take the age as of the date of the birthday, sorry, the age of the interview, and work backwards 216 days. That's the other way of applying the same thing, but it's really the same procedure. But it is described that latter way in the memo I'm about to show you, which describes how this is implemented. Okay, so this link is in my blog. I'll make sure you have that link down below as well for the time and date calculator. I use this page constantly. And then the next thing I wanted to talk about, it is mentioned on my page here. This is the important bit here about this policy memo. The way that the CSPA is implemented for DV lottery cases was described in a memo that I'm going to show you here, an internal memo, but it was made public. And so although that is now, almost 16 years old, this is still the procedure for CSPA calculations used by the embassies today. Now, not all embassies will understand this. So they're aware of the CSPA, but they don't necessarily understand how it relates to DV lottery cases or how they should perform the calculation. So I strongly advise that you print off this memo that I'm going to show you here, which actually explains the calculation, and it explains what I just showed you there. So as you can see, this memo is talking about the CSPA and how it relates to different cases, and it's got a section here on page 4 about diversity visa applicants. And what it talks about here is exactly what I just described to you. The period between the first day of the DV mail-in period, which was in 2003, it was a mail-in lottery, but now it's an entry online, so it's the same thing. First day that the entry period opens, and the date of the letter notifying the principal alien that his or her application has been selected. In other words, the day when the 1NL becomes available in the ESC page. That's the date we're talking about. And so hence the calculation for DV 2020, 216 days. If you're watching this video in future years, you can use the date calculator tool here to calculate that time, and you can count days between two periods. So for example, you would do October 3rd, 2019 until, let's say, May. Let's say they release this, next year on the 5th in 2020. This will be for 2021. Calculate the duration. If that were the case, that would be 215 days. I don't know the day the lottery will open, and I don't know the results will be given yet, so these are not the actual dates, but you can see how I can calculate the number of days between two dates here using this date calculating tool. Okay. So back to the memo. Please do take note of this memo and read this section very well, and print off this memo if you go to your interview. I have had people that have had the experience where they know more about this than the CEO that is interviewing them. Because they've read this memo properly, they've read my comments, and it has been helpful to a great many people that would otherwise not have got a green card for their child. So this is an important topic. I hope this has been interesting to you. Please let me know with the like button below. Feel free to make any comments or ask questions below, and of course subscribe to my channel. I'd be very grateful for that, and it gives me a little bit more exposure. Okay, thank you. Have a great day.